And today's bite is a focus on uncertainty in you. In the context of desiring to do collaborative design, we do a lot of design thinking, we do a lot of work that's collaborative and creative problem solving. And next week, we're going to focus on uncertainty and your team. And so it's kind of fun that these two are going to be connected. We'll build on some of the learning today. We'll do some reminders next week. So please do join in for that as well. So the key questions that we're going to be addressing today is, number one, is what the heck is going on in terms that's bringing so much this uncertainty? I think we all kind of know, but we'll talk about how that's actually impacting us. And we'll talk about why things are turning out the way that we're experiencing it. And ultimately, we're going to get to a place where we can say, well, what can we do about it? So let's just jump in. So what do we want? You know, one of the things that we want from design thinking, whether you use the concept of design thinking or not, is that we want to build empathy and understanding for our customers, for our students, for the people that we're trying to serve, as well as our teammates and the people in our organizations. We want to be able to define problems. We want to ideate, which means we generate possible solutions to addressing challenges and problems and taking advantage of opportunities. We focus down and we really try to be able to pursue those. We want to be able to prototype ideas, test those ideas, iterate those ideas in the marketplace. We also want to do creative problem solving, where we're being generative and we're able to focus our energy on something that we've chosen to do together. We want to experiment, we want to collaborate, we want to have play, and we want to have fun. All of that requires us to be open. All of that requires us to do a lot of things that kind of fit in this word cloud, right? We want understanding, compassion, awareness, connection, sharing, love, and what are we really experiencing? We are needing and wanting to have all of these really open and creative ways of being, this way of thinking, these ways of feeling, these ways of connecting with one another, and we're experiencing this. Anxiety, worry, disorder. People are feeling this pressure of all of these things that are going on in ways that we maybe have not actually ever experienced before. Starting to wonder, like, what is going on? We've got not only individual things, as the upper left and right hand corner have, but we have different people arguing about how we should be doing things, from do we wear masks? No, we should do social distancing. No, we should do this sort of stuff. Or how do we address these pressing issues we have related to race in our country and around the world? People are disagreeing, and this is, again, adding into all of this. It's all natural, it's all understandable, but it's difficult. It's creating uncertainty. And so a lot of people are, like here, good old Pooh Bear, are feeling stuck. They're feeling stuck. And in a time where so many things are opening up and providing us challenges and problems and opportunities, feeling stuck means we might not be able to pursue those. And in fact, some people are like, good old Eeyore here, that not only are they feeling stuck, they actually feel like the headwinds of uncertainty are pushing them backwards. And so this is super important, because as things become unfrozen, whether it be our social constructs or the way that we go about doing things, that unfreezing opens up opportunities. But if we can't move on those opportunities because of this deep uncertainty and all that brings, we're missing out on a chance, possibly a chance of a lifetime. And so feeling this way makes total sense. Of course, why wouldn't we feel this way? And it's time, at times like this, it's really important for us to open up our empathy and really try to understand what is happening. Because uncertainty brings stress to you, your teams, your organizations, and possibly in ways right now that you've never seen before. Why is this? Because we have a lack of information. We have conflicting information. We have too much information. We have novelty. We're seeing things that we've never seen before, and so we just don't know what to do with them. We're surprised by some of the things that are coming at us. It's hard to have predicted all of these different things that have been happening to us. And who would have thought on February 15th that on June 18th that we'd be in this situation talking about these sorts of things? I don't know a single person that really predicted that this would be happening in the way that it has. Even if they predicted the general way it might be, they certainly couldn't have predicted all of the detail. It also lands us in a place where we're not sure where we can influence. When the pandemic struck, this was certainly happening. Like, where can we actually even try to get a hold of this thing. And then now with the elevation of the talk about race in the United States and around the world and the systems of oppression, we're like, well, what can I even do about it? And again, this lends us to a place of uncertainty and difficulty in terms of even knowing how to act. Because this then this all adds to all of the regular old stresses. We've had our kids at home for months. They're maybe not going back to school. Wait, they got to wear masks to school. Oh my gosh, what's happening? We're trying to decide. So it all compounds. The regular old stuff is happening, and all of these new things are compounding on top of us, leading to a place that makes total sense for us, feeling very difficult to deal with this. And so I want to unpack this a little bit, and I want to talk about energy. And when I'm talking about energy, it's about the energy in the way that I'm talking about here is defined as the combination of our thoughts and our emotions. And our energy happens inside of us, how we're feeling inside. And we all speak with this language every day. I'm feeling low. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling different ways. My thoughts are inspired. Or my thoughts are, I'm feeling depressed, or I'm focusing on all the bad things that might happen. Energy is inside you, and energy ends up showing up to other people. So it comes out of you and into your work situations, whether they be in Zoom or now that we're starting to connect with people again. How you are inside tends to show up in some way outside. Now, what's interesting is we often want to show up in a certain way, and we don't know how to show up in that certain way because we have to change inside in order to be able to get to outside. So we're going to talk about energy, because energy is really critical to this. As I've been observing, I work with hundreds of people all the time. What I've been observing is that energy is really the key here to starting to deal with some of this stuff. So let me talk about why. On a normal good day, you might have kind of open energy, building up energy. Things are going great. Let's collaborate. Let's be creative. Let's do some really interesting things together. Now, in our normal lives, we also have normal stressful days. And this is something we're actually kind of used to. This is not the kind of uncertainty that I was just talking about. It's just our normal stress, right? Stuff comes at us. We work at the university. I also work with some amazing people in our collective, our cooperative consulting organization. And we deal with people all over the country who are dealing with stressful situations. But these are kind of known stressors. And these known stressors kind of bring up some mixed energy. And we learn how to cope and adjust with that. Some days are up. Some days are down, but generally we've learned how to cope and adjust. And now we're dealing with uncertain, stressful days and all of that other stuff too. Both in terms of like, today I'm feeling really great, but yet there's all these stressors, and then I start feeling guilty because I'm feeling great in the midst of all of these stressors. And it's just like all these crazy things that are making us feel like this. And this leads to closed, tearing down energy. And that if you want to be creative with other people, you want to collaborate with other people, you want to see the opportunity in the what feels like chaos being closed and having tearing down energy for yourself, with your relationships, on your teams, on your organizations, that will have you sink in and close down and focus on what's right in front of you, which makes total sense, right? Because that's the thing that feels like survival. And all this opportunity to make things different because things have been shaken up, just goes on past us because we can't see it. We're stuck in that closed energy. And it makes sense because those tend to be our default reactions. When these things happen, we all have our default places. We tend on a normal good day, we default to this. We've got this, inspiration, joy. We feel really, really good. On a normal stressful day, we go, okay, well, let's make the best of it. I mean, I work in a bureaucracy at the university, and there's always stuff that's coming at us. Like, okay, some new policies or whatever. Okay, but you know what? We know how to do this. How do we feel? We go, I feel like this. Sometimes I get a little irked, but we pull on our determination and we make the best of it. We turn back up. We say, okay, how do we make this work? But in these uncertain times, man, we're like, when will this ever end? When are we going to get back to normal? Why is this happening to me? Oh my gosh. And now especially summer's starting to happen and we're hitting all of those routines that we normally have. We go to all these parks, or we do vacations, or we do all these things that kids come home, and all of a sudden we don't get to do those things that we normally have been able to do. We feel helpless. We could sink in depression. We feel sadness, and we even feel anger. We're like, this really stinks, because we've been going at this for a long time. And if pretty much all of us at this point are like, oh wait, this didn't work to get it all to go away. It looks like we're going to be dealing with this stuff for a long time. And so the question for us is, what's it costing us to stay in that red zone? What's it costing us to not do something and intervene? Because if we only stay in our default areas, we will never be able to get back up into that we've got this inspiration and joy place. And this comes down to one of the critical components of what I want to share, and it's this, that yes, we do have default reactions. Everybody has a default reaction. The default reaction is a necessary survival to a stress. If something dangerous comes at us, we default to going right into defensiveness, and all of our adrenaline starts going and all of that sort of thing. But if we stay in that place, that's why stress beats us up and burns us out. Stress is so hard on our bodies. It's so hard on the chemical systems in our bodies. And instead, because this is the beautiful thing about being human, humans can choose how they react. Humans can say, all right, this is the other thing too, is we can gain insight that this is coming, which means if we can gain insight, we can gain foresight. And if we can have foresight, we can start to predict these unpredictable things that are coming at us and prepare ourselves to choose our stress reactions. In a good day, you're probably going to default to, hey, this is pretty good. On a tough day, that's when it really counts, being able to choose. Okay, so what can you do for you? And this is where I'm going to jump into some tips, and we'll go through those, and with whatever time we have again, we'll be able to have a little discussion. Maybe we'll do some chat stuff, and we've got a few other things we'd like to share with you. Tip number one, you've already done this. You've become aware and acknowledged that this is happening and having an impact. Well, let me get back to that because I want to talk about that again. So acknowledging. A lot of folks, we've all seen the various and sundry reactions to what's going on. Some people really just don't even want to acknowledge that this should be impacting us at all. To me, it's like even if you aren't directly even if your life isn't really directly hurt and messed up by the pandemic, or you're not personally feeling the impact of these race discussions and the dismantling of these oppressive systems that we've had, if you're not, it doesn't really matter, because it's like our brains are running like our computers. You know how your computer gets slow if you never turn it off? It just kind of constantly, that magic that makes the computer run actually just keeps running. Our brains are the same way. They just keep running, and this pressure is always there. So it's good to just acknowledge this is happening and having an impact on us and having an impact on our teams. Instead of, the opposite of this would be just basically deflecting away from it or ignoring it, or telling people, don't worry about that. It's nothing. Let's just keep the business. We should acknowledge that something's happening, which then leads us to the second thing, is validating that is normal. So once we've built understanding, we need of what's happening, we need to validate that based on that understanding, and understand that it's perfectly normal to feel the way that we're feeling. If you've been crying, if you've been screaming, if you've been breaking things, that's perfectly normal. Who wouldn't do that? All of us have had those moments. And so wherever you are, that's perfectly normal. And by building understanding and awareness, accepting where we are, validating that as a normal human reaction, we also then get to do the other normal human, the other human thing, and decide to move forward and intervene. Instead of leaving ourselves in that space, instead of leaving ourselves in that very difficult situation, we can start to decide how we're going to choose to react. And that becomes critical, because when we start to choose to react in ways other than that red zone, it starts to also spread to other people who then start to feel empowered to react in ways that they choose as well. Will we be perfect at it? No, we got to give ourselves grace, but we certainly can start to try. So some new tips. 3 additional ones. Clarify and appreciate your current circle of influence. One of the things that I've been noticing, and I could give you a lot of the theory behind this and the research behind this sort of stuff, but let's just keep it practical, is that a lot of people are feeling helpless when actually they have a rather large circle of influence. They have an influence on the people that they are connected with and who they might connect with. They have influences on processes that they run or design themselves or could redesign. They have influence on, they have stuff. They have influence in certain types of authority. They have influence in certain networks. And so if you can do an inventory for yourself, and me, literally what I did was I wrote down in my journal, I journal a lot, but even if you can just take a piece of paper and write down a circle and write down the things that are in it that you actually can influence, and then things outside the influence, outside the circle, then you can say, those are the levers I can pull. And I appreciate that I've got at least some levers that I can pull. All that stuff that's outside, you have 2 choices. Either expand your circle of influence so that you can start to influence those things, or just come to grips with the fact that almost everything in your life, in the world, are things that are outside your circle of influence. And that's the way it is. So much is going on in our world and coming at us through social media, through television, through whatever sort of way you gather your information, that we can do nothing about. If we can put that to the side and really clarify and appreciate what we can do something about, that really puts us back into a place of solid ground and ability to actually have some control in our life and to get us back up to that place of a good day. Next one, reflect and refresh your intentions for the future. And I put intentions with an asterisk and a separate color because I want to make sure that I really emphasized this. This does not say reflect and refresh on your goals for the future. What it says is reflect and refresh your intentions for the future. And that's very, very intentional itself. Why? Because if we only reflect on the goals, all good goals follow, they're specific, they're measurable, they're accountable, realistic with reach, time-bound, whatever you've met for your SMART goals. The problem there when we're dealing with a lot of uncertainty is those goals were probably built on a whole bunch of information that was certain at the time, which is now no longer certain. So let's take a family vacation. We had a goal. We were going to go to this place. We were going to be on this beach. We were going to be in this thing, this resort that we thought about. We were going to camp like this, whatever it might be. If you held on to that goal really tight, you are going to be very disappointed because you will not probably be able to pull it off in the current environment that you wanted to pull it off. But if you can abstract up and say, wait now, what was our intention there with that vacation? Oh, one of the intentions was we wanted to get somewhere with the kids. And we wanted to hang out with our parents. And we wanted to get some outside time. And then you might be able to say, those are my intentions. Now, how might I build my new way of making those intentions come true in the environment that I'm in? For me, I reflected, I'm trying to work with Meg to build this really amazing entrepreneurship and innovation program. 6 months ago, we weren't thinking really deeply about doubling down on online, and now for us that's like a super important piece. Was that what our goal was before? No, but that's our intention now. And I've got a variety of those other things too, with my consulting practice, my coaching practice, with my kids, revisiting my intentions and then resetting my goals. It's super powerful. Tip number 5, attend to your energy through choice. First, and there's three subsets. So I got them in 5, but I give you 3 subsets. So there's really extra bonus material. Number 1, choose your trigger destination and say sorry. So these kind of go in. And we all get triggered. We all have our buttons. They get pushed. Our default place might be we default to anger. We might default to defensiveness. We might default to all sorts of different things. And a lot of people are in that same energy level. And so a lot of people are like this with each other. Instead, we can anticipate some of those buttons that get pushed And we could ask ourselves, we may not be able to prevent ourselves being triggered, but we might be able to ask ourselves, what would I like to be triggered to? My personal go-to is I like to now, instead of being triggered to defensiveness or anger, I like to be triggered to curiosity. What's going on with that other person and what's going on with me? Why does my blood pressure feel like it's rising? Oh, that's really interesting. I don't want to try to stop it. Like that's an emotional flood that's trying to become emotionally intelligent, understand that that's happening. Why am I having these thoughts? But I'm triggering the curiosity. And then when I blow it, and I inevitably blow it, I say sorry. I say sorry a lot lately. So I just go with that, and hopefully my relationships, I've invested enough that they keep me around. Next, choose to elevate. Choose to elevate your emotions particularly. And one very well-known, well-researched way of doing that is every single day, write down 3 things. This is sometimes called the 3 blessings, I'm calling it 3 points of gratefulness. If you write down 3 things every day that you're grateful for, it doesn't matter what they are. They can be small things, big things. If you write those down, I don't know why the magic happens. Actually, I do, but I'm not going to explain it. There's magic that happens behind these things, and your well-being, your sense of how you feel and how you show up goes up. Because gratefulness is a powerful emotion and a powerful set of thoughts that impact your energy. Third one, choose to take care of yourself and give yourself grace. Like I said, you got stuff running back here, you can't help it. You're wondering why you're feeling tired. You're wondering why you're feeling sad. You're wondering why you're feeling some moments of exaltation while your up and downs are like this. Totally normal. Give yourself some grace and take care of yourself. There is no more important time than under times of uncertainty than to take care of your well-being. However you do it, whether it be investing extra in your relationships, whether it be investing in your mental health, however you do that, your spiritual health, whether it be meditation, running, going to the beach, eating chocolate, whatever you got to do to take care of yourself, this is the time to be doing that and actually investing extra in that and actually hoping that other folks around you will do the same. Last piece of this, and then maybe we'll have a chance for a minute or two of folks just chiming in, is the Serenity mantra. Now this, as many of you may know, historically, there was a prayer back in the 40s that came out of the Christian faith that dealt with this Serenity prayer. But when you look at the concepts in this actually goes across many, many cultures, many, many religions. So I think it's really, really powerful because there's super power in these simple words. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because if you spend your energy on the things that you can actually do something about, you will gain energy. You'll start filling your bucket back up. And if you avoid spending all your energy on things where you cannot do anything about them, which are just basically like holes in your bucket, just draining all your energy out because you never get any of the reward of actually being able to do anything, and being able to really come to grips with that and have the wisdom to know the difference, it'll have a significant impact on you in times of uncertainty. So with that, Meg, I would turn over to you maybe to see where we want to go. I see we've got 4 minutes left of lunch bites, so I definitely nailed the time okay. Here's our 5 tips. Happy to, if anyone's got things they'd like to share, be more than happy to answer any questions or if we've got time.
Yeah, so we wanted to keep these to half an hour and open up the floor for Q&A after those talks if you want to. So that's the standard format we're thinking of going forward. If you can go forward 1 and then 2. So thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're interested in hosting or speaking at a lunch bite, let me know. We are featuring different people doing really cool entrepreneurial things in our community. It's so fun to see some of our alumni and community entrepreneurs on the call today, and we just really want to highlight and showcase that. And down to the next page, if you don't mind. So many different offerings for your continued development this year that we're putting out, and we'll be sharing a lot about. But super excited for those and the many different offerings that professional education is bringing forward at Western in our innovation and entrepreneurial spirit. So we hope to see you at many future Lunch Bites. Pop in as you can, and we'll be recording and posting those to our website as well.